Hey guys, before the video, I just have to say that doing the research for this one was an absolute pleasure. I couldn't understand a word of what the Korean announcers were saying, but I just found their passion unbelievably infectious. Just loved it. Here's a little highlight before we hop into the main video.
오른쪽으로 일단은 들어가요. 그렇죠. 용자 선수 들어가야 되거든요.
용계를 하는 타이밍이 지금 한 번밖에 없어요. 이거 마지막 타이밍이라고 보고 들어가야 되는 건데. 로켓을 끝자. 밥 이거 조금 먹네요.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today I have a special treat for you guys. I've scoured the interwebs and selected what I think are four of my absolute favorite off-meta decks that actually won in CCGS. Today we'll be showing replays from CCGS Korea, CCGS Southeast Asia, and also CCGS Europe, highlighting some really interesting decks. Starting with this one, you'll see it at the top. You guys can already tell which one is the off-meta deck. It's the Furnace Giant Skeleton deck, and it only gets even more off-meta with Sparky. It's funny, we thought Sparky could be a really OP card after she got her pretty significant buff, let's face it, but she just hasn't been able to crack that competitive kind of tier 1 standing in terms of power of individual cards. However, you can see she actually worked out really well in this deck, and man, these Koreans are playing some crazy decks. You'll see an off-meta deck of his own being played by Zebra on the bottom. Unfortunately, I can't pronounce, and I wasn't able to really come up with the winner's actual English pronunciation on the name. I'm sure some of you guys in the comments can actually help me out there. Anyway, we had a really big first push of this match, and of course, as if Sparky and Giant Skeleton weren't enough, we also have the Lumberjack and we also have the Mirror in this deck. It's crazy how many great off-meta decks were used inside the CCGS Championship, which is a contest with over $1 million on the line. So the fact that these players are confident enough in these off-meta decks and they actually won with them, it says a lot to me, and it's really interesting and enjoyable to watch. At least I like it. If you guys like this type of episode, let me know. Kind of doing a recap of the best of from a big competition such as CCGS. Anyway, here you can see that Giant Skeleton bomb falls really close to that right tower, bringing it down to 139 HP left thanks to that final bomb there. So all it really needs at this point is a mirrored log, and we win the match. We, meaning the guy with the crazy off-meta deck. Although, again, the Graveyard Freeze, seeing this in a competition is pretty cool too. Speaking of Graveyard Freeze, there it is. We counter with a Poison and another Furnace of our own. We'll take some damage, but not a ton of damage, and this is going to be a one for the books pretty soon. Of course, getting somewhat hard countered by that E-Wiz on this deck when Sparky is one of our main win conditions. However, look at that. 4 Furnaces right now on the board. We basically just kept mirroring Furnaces. Look at how fast the Furnace and those Goblins are going to take down that Mega Knight there, making this graveyard really not a big deal. Even with the freeze spell, all those Fire Spirits are going to take it down. We use Poison offensively and pick up the victory. What a cool deck that was. And of course, I'll have all the deck links in the description for you guys. And of course, on the new overlay with the battle deck, shout out to Radical Rosh for revising the overlay to try to accommodate some of your requests who really enjoyed seeing the battle deck on the overlay. Now we're going to go to Tally, who I ruffled some feathers in a video maybe about, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 days ago now, saying that I thought Tally was the best player in the world. A lot of big Surgical Goblin fans out there, Adrian Piedra, a lot of other players mentioned in that conversation, and certainly you can make a great case for any of those guys. But you know what? Tally's a really good player, and he's on a hot streak right now. So I like Tally a lot, but of course, as I said, you can't go wrong with any of the players who are actually in the global finals. And don't sleep too on Sin Woong from Korea. I had a video on him a couple days ago as well. Anyway, look at this deck that Tally is playing in this matchup here, guys. It is a Goblin Hut with a Tornado, with Graveyard, with Mega Knight. It's like a crazy iteration of Splash Yard with the Tornado. I just like the Goblin Hunt and the Tornado added to this deck, along with the Mega Knight. Just a lot of different splash options, a lot of cards to combo with the Tornado. It's a really strong defensive deck. It's a little expensive, but also carries a really, really powerful counter push, as you saw in that last sequence when we got the left tower down to 390 HP. Spear Goblin Hut, or Goblin Hut, is everywhere now in CCGS. I saw that Chief Pat and Surgical Goblin both made videos on the Goblin Hut. I'll go ahead and link both of those videos if you're interested in their content. Obviously, both great content creators, two of really the biggest English-speaking YouTubers out there right now. I guess along with maybe Nick at Night and OJ, I guess those would be like the big four. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. Either way, I'll link both of those videos for you guys. So here we go, a big defensive stance. We use the Tornado against the Golem, trying to buy a little bit more time defensively, allowing us to take out the Miner from Military Attack, who's a great player in his own right. We stopped the Golemites from even reaching our tower. Now all we need is a perfect poison, 240 HP left. A poison does 240 damage, and that will end it out. Couldn't work out better here for Tally. With 20 seconds left on the timer here on the clock, all we really have to do is rely on the Tornado and the Goblin Hut here. Make sure we defend that Miner, and we should be good to go. 8 seconds left. Just drop a poison here pretty soon, and we will have this in the bag. Instead, we drop Graveyard, happens to be in cycle. That will finish off the match. There's the poison. Military Attack goes down to a really cool iteration again of that Splash Yard deck being played by Tally. Now, by the way, another Goblin Hut deck, of course, of LoopOnG is going to be coming up. That's the fourth replay, the fourth deck that I have in store for you guys today. But first, let's take a look at the Detective Heka deck going up against Legend, who's really one of the best Vietnamese players in the entire world. Detective Heka, I believe Filipino, and he is with the Bren Chong Alliance, the PH Alliance, and definitely one of the best players in the entire world as well. You could really make the case that Detective Heka also belongs in that conversation up there at the very top of the game. You know, the tops, I put him top 5 players in the world, 100%, and you can see he goes off meta. You know, I'm including this deck all because of one card, the Bomb Tower. It's funny that Woody started this movement on Reddit, ban the Bomb Tower card, kind of as a revolt or a protest to the ban system being part of CCGS, where players can choose a card not to be used throughout the entire match. And you know what? Hey, it probably would have been good for Legend to ban it here, because Detective Heka knows that he's going to be playing some sort of a spam deck, or at least he guesses it. And heck, Bomb Tower is one of the best defenses against that, maybe alongside Tombstone. So really, Bomb Tower coming through huge here in this really old school classic beatdown deck. Doesn't the deck that Detective Heka is playing right now kind of look like something that you'd pick up in Arena 2? I mean, despite the Ice Golem, I guess, you know, Mega Minion, I think, what is that? A little bit higher arena. I lose track of what cards unlock at which arena. But other than that, the Archers, the Bomb Tower, the Giant, it's like classic Goizen meta, even more classic with the Bomb Tower. It reminds me of the early days, the early days of like beta Clash Royale. That's back the last time I probably played Bomb Tower, but it made an appearance here, and it really had a demonstrative win here against Legend. So Legend, again, the pioneer of the Vietnam deck, which he's playing in this match. Interesting that the bridge spam deck, the Vietnam deck, isn't dead just yet. Legend still uses it incredibly successfully in this new version with the Mega Knight as well. You just saw the Mega Knight, speaking of, come down on the arena. Bomb Tower doing a ton of damage. Ice Golem's going to block that Inferno Dragon. Bomb Tower just going to take care of these barbarians from the battle ram. Not a big deal at all. Mitigating any heavy damage onto that right tower. Only 22 seconds left. Detective Heka can just ride this one out. He's sitting at full elixir. Might as well drop another Bomb Tower. It's not like this deck is using Bomb Tower as a novelty item. It's using it and it's winning with it. It's like, it's really difficult to get past a Bomb Tower, even though Legend has poison, just has so much HP. And you can see Legend must be really frustrated at this point because he couldn't get past it the entire match. almost full health on the left tower, 1500 HP on the right tower. Really nice win, and interesting to see an old school Goizen bomb tower deck. Okay, the last deck is of course going to be LoopOnG's deck. LoopOnG is going to be playing the classic. This is the deck that everybody's making videos on. It's become incredibly popular after he used it to beat Surgical Goblin. Now, again, I should mention that Surgical Goblin, Frank, still a good friend of mine. I still think, legitimately, that he is one of the best players in the entire world, along with Tally, Detective Hecka, a couple other guys too. Just my opinion, right? But yeah, for all the Surgical fans out there, yes, Surgical's still a god. I'm really bummed out that he's not in the finals. Just wanted to make that very clear. However, LoopOnG really taking him by surprise maybe with this crazy giant P.E.K.K.A. a Spirit Goblin Hut deck. Wow, what a combination. And there it goes. Spirit Goblin's just kind of spawning. And why did the Goblin Hut become popular? Well, the first part about it is that they do incredible chip damage when you have a big tank in the deck, either a miner or a giant. Just great combination. Number two is they're a great way for your opponent to be forced to use Zap in awkward situations if you want to bait out a Zap. You just saw it there, actually. The opponent used Zap. And of course, most importantly, is I think people slept on the fact that Spirit Goblins got that buff in the last balance update. And of course, it gave larger value to Goblin Gang, and it also gave larger value to the Goblin Hut, which spawns Spirit Goblins. So it's actually a great option right now in the game, and it can be annoying to deal with, a great source of chip damage. So here comes more Spirit Goblins just chipping away, just being a nuisance. We go ahead and we use the poison, LoopOnG I should say, uses poison against that Dark Goblin, getting a little bit of chip damage on the right tower, takes some damage from the Goblin Barrel onto his right tower. So now we're entering double elixir time. There's only one card left that each of us has not played. Surgical Goblin obviously rocking a rocket, and we are rocking a P.E.K.K.A, and you're gonna see her in just a moment. There she is. So it's the P.E.K.K.A, and you wouldn't think P.E.K.K.A would necessarily be good against bait. As a matter of fact, she's not that great against bait. A good trick barrel there by Surgical Goblin, but we did get two of the goblins there with that log, and now we have a monster push. And check out LoopOnG here, guys. He's going to be relentless with his push. He's never going to stop. So he cycles to another giant played at the bridge. After the giant, I think he's going to drop the log, take out that Dark Goblin, just barely, and then immediately cycle to another E-Wiz. Basically, you can see he is putting on the pressure here, trying to take advantage of Surgical's rather light deck when he had the small elixir advantage going into it here. Surgical forced to use a defensive Goblin barrel, however, not enough. E-Wizard gets one hit on that right tower, enough to, in combination with the poison, take it down. There it is, guys. Those are the four most unique off-meta decks used in CCGS, according to yours truly. And what does my opinion matter? Not that much, but I hope you guys enjoyed the episode just the same. What do you think of these decks? Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, who we mentioned earlier, ties to Detective Hecka, my YouTube sponsor as well. You can check out his information in the description below. Bren Strong. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.